Disclaimer, this is for so-called black people. Disclaimer, this is for so-called black people to let you know this don't belong to you. But what I will show, and you can stay around if you ain't black, I'm going to show you something that was put in place. This is the Declaration of Independence. I'm going to read the first paragraph real quick. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal stations of which laws of nature and of nature's God entitled them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. Did you get that? Many of you haven't. You can read it again on your own. We're going to move to phase 2. Now listen very carefully. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, and that among these life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its power in such form as to them shall seem most likely to effect their safety and happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate the governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and according to all experience have shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms on which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably the same object emphasis in a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former system of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, and all having direct object of establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, the facts be submitted to a candid world. I'm going to stop right there. Let me tell you something. Just tell you something. That right there gave you the blueprint for your own government. From the first part to the second part. But you know also, it's a question for you so-called black people, you so-called Native Americans, you American citizens. Got a question for you. Who or when and who was or is your king? And who are you the subjects of? See, our king is not the king of Great Britain. Do you understand? So, even as much as you would love to be a United States citizen, that shit was not made for you. But in the Constitution, it says there are many nations here, and you can have your own nation. You can be yourself, because who was our king? Just a question. We ain't a part of that. We don't belong to it. The King of Great Britain has never ever and could ever never be our king. And the King of Great Britain used to wear fez. The original crown of the King of Great Britain was a fez, my nigga.